Hey everyone, in this video, we'll understand what are the elements of a prompt. A prompt might contain instruction, context, input data, and output indicator. Right? It depends on use case to use case. Okay. So some prompts doesn't have any instructions, doesn't have any context. They just give the input data and they expect like this is the output I want. Sometimes. But ideally, depending on your use case, you need to come up with all this proper structured way, right? So, a better prompt might contain instruction like what is your specific task and context. Context meaning like you can mention like you are a AI engineer or you are a physics professor, you are a chemistry professor. Your task is to do some research on this organic chemistry or inorganic chemistry or these compounds, and you have to come up with some strategy, something like that. So that is the context and input data. For that you can provide some of the input CSV files or knowledge related to this data. So this is your, let's say you are a data scientist, you want to do some task related to clean these rows, clean these null values from this particular rows, particular columns. For that you pass some data in a CSV format. That is the input data. Output indicator is like give the response in a JSON format or CSV format. So that is in this way you mentioned, right? These are the instructions or like prompt contain, these are the elements. Like basically it might contain one instruction, it might contain some context, like it contains some input data. You have to pass input data to get some output. So all these things, and also you mentioned like what in what way you want the response output. So all these things are like kind of what I can say, kind of elements of a prompt. These things need not to be existing in the prompt, but depending on use case to use case, you have to pick these things and you have to implement these things, right? So, so in general, so better tips for designing this is like this is one famous scientist, like one of the famous person, Andrew Ng, in one of these course like prompt engineering guide, like how to create a prompt in the beginning. So in the long time back, so he mentioned we have to start simple. Like let's say you are telling some things to another person, another peer. So you are implementing one application, you are creating one application. After creating your role, so you have to define your, let's say you are junior, you are saying something like we have to build something like this, we have to do something like this. In the same way, you have to tell to the model also, in with the help of prompt, you have to tell that like, okay, your task is this, you have to do this in a precise, in a concise, in a proper manner, so that the model will understand, it can give some response. So that's why they're saying like start simple. So whatever you have in your mind, so put it on the paper or put it on the chart, like in a proper way. So in a simple manner, so in a simple understandable manner, so that model can understand, it can give some kind of a response. And also instructions, you have to specify like write, classify, summarize, translate, order. So if you use these kind of a keywords, then model can get better understanding and it can give you better results. And whenever so you are using anything, you can mention these things in hashtags, hashtag instruction. Then if you mention something, then it will be better, right? So, and you have to specify exactly what you want with the keywords. I want the results in CSV format. I want the results in JSON format. In that way, you have to specify. So then the model can understand. Instead of giving options to the model, if you specify that, it can make the things in a better way. So, right, so what to do, what not to do. So you have to specify the model like what you have to do, what you're not supposed to do. So if you mention all these things, then you can get some kind of a better results. So ideally, let's say if you are summarizing one text, right? So it's better, uh, so instead of giving directly explain antibiotics, you can mention like this: antibiotics are type of medicine. They work by either killing all these things. So explain the above in one sentence. So what they are doing here is like They're clearly asking, we're passing the content and they're asking it in a summarize, right? So summarization they're expecting. So if you give this and after that you can mention like explain the above in one sentence, it can give you in one sentence. So let's say, uh, so in order to do the questioning answering question answer also, in order to do the classification also, if you specify some example like classify the text into neutral, negative or positive, then if you give the text and then it will model will return you the response. So we already clearly given like these are the options you have. Out of these options, you have to come up with one thing. So how we can do the conversation, how you can implement the code generation and all those things. So you can give like this, but this everything is a prompt, but these are not all. I mean, these all are not a good prompts, I'll say, because there are many prompting techniques out there. These are like kind of generic things. You're directly asking, this is the content, explain this in one sentence. This is the information, come up with few lines. So this is not a best way of learning the prompts, but these are the examples of prompts. So what we'll do, so we'll cover in the next tutorials, we'll cover like what are the prompting techniques, we'll cover each technique and we'll understand. So in this video, we covered about like what are the elements of a prompt. It might have an instruction, it might have a context, it might have input data, it might have output indicators, and after that, how well you can design the prompts. What are the tricks and tips to design the prompts? You have to specify the instruction. You have to give some context. You have to do it in iterative way. You have to specify that. You have to explain to the model like what it has to do, what not to do. So all these things, if you include, then it will become a good prompt. Then we see some examples, and in the next tutorial we'll cover about some of the techniques. Right. So till then, take care, enjoy.